Denver blitzed them. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I thought this series was going to be interesting for a couple of reasons. One, I think the biggest storyline coming into it was the depth thing. I think everybody's criticism of Phoenix was they don't have enough guys coming off that bench, and are they going to be gassed or whatever the case may be. It didn't really show in that first series against the Clippers, but tonight it definitely showed. If you look at that fourth quarter, they were gassed. They were completely out of it. They even some of the turnovers they got late were like, I don't have any energy left types of turnovers. So I think those were the biggest storylines. Everything Phoenix was weak in, Denver took advantage of. Right. You know what I'm saying? They got punched. They got punched by a team they were better than them. Because we always do this, and I don't want to overreact, but they threw that first punch. Literally everything you could have pointed out about this series that's interesting, especially for Phoenix, we saw here in game one. Lack of depth, lack of three-point shooting, the three-point differentials, all of that came to show up today.
I'm glad you mentioned three-point differential, because I heard Ernie say on Inside the NBA that Phoenix only took 5 threes in the first half. Mm-hmm. In today's game, that is, bro, people take 5 threes within 2 minutes or even 1 minute of a game sometimes. For you to only take 5 threes in a half in the NBA game in 2023 is crazy to me. Yeah. So that's one problem. They need to probably get up some more 3-point shots. I'm not saying shoot a lot, but they got to get enough good shooters on the team. Obviously, with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, they should be shooting more than 5 threes, 5 threes a half or whatever. But yeah, their bench. I told you before this series started. I told you in the previous series with the Clippers. I said the problem is their starters are going to have to play so many minutes. That bench is going to have to play some great minutes at some point. Yeah, because there's no way their starters can sustain conditioning that long over a period of time, over a series, even over a playoffs, for them to like get to the finals to me. So they're going to have to figure out something. Somebody will have to step up for them.
No, that's true. I mean, if you look at that series, like I don't always like to do these hypotheticals, what if so-and-so is here, whatever the case may be, but if you look at that first series against the Clippers, depth would have bothered them a lot much more if Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were there. Yeah. Simple as that. And they probably don't win that series. It probably goes to 7. They maybe lose in 7. Like you can, and you did say it the whole season, you can have as much talent as you want. And again, Phoenix isn't done. It's just game one. I don't want to overreact, but you can have as much talent as you want. If you don't have that depth, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Like, you can literally see it. They were gassed as hell, like, come late second half. Like, all of that. Yeah. And then your top 3 guys, Kevin Durant, he is what he is. Injury prone, but he's still an effective player. Devin Booker, usually a healthy guy. Chris Paul, your third player, is older. So if you're just relying on the big 3 and 1/3 of your big 3 is older, and you're worried about guys getting gassed, that's not good, especially against an energetic team like Denver, who I think has the most to prove this series, you know?
Oh, yeah. They definitely would get more out of this than the Suns would if they won series, for sure.
Facts.
But, it's just weird because, like you said with the Clippers, this showed that the Clippers' depth still keeps them competitive, because they were in, even though the Suns won that series, obviously against the Clippers were still in a lot of those games. Why? Yeah. Because their depth it shows you where depth can take you. And not just, sometimes it's more important. I know it's going to sound crazy. Sometimes it's more important just to have superstars, because you still need that depth to get you into games, to keep you into games, or even when your star players on the bench, you still need them to score some points. And they just they're depending on players like Wainwright. What's the other dude's name? I always say it's Courtney Lee. It's not
Damian Lee.
Like those are okay players, but those you're going to need more.
You're going to need more. So. Facts. Probably another shock. And I don't want to go too much into what they need to do next season or whatever, but that stuff is going to come back on you. I think another major storyline here is the Nikola Jokic thing. And I was we're going to talk about Jamal Murray in a second, but I was really interested to see. I'm interested in what type of player DeAndre Ayton is. I'm interested. Is he? We always have these conversations. Is he an all-star? Is he what is he? You know, is he an all-star caliber player? Can he get there? He has a prime matchup here and a prime opportunity to prove himself for the second time in his career here against Nikola Jokic. And he gets absolutely destroyed by him. Last time they met, I think, Jokic. No, I don't think Jokic did destroy him that series, outscored him big time. And tonight, it's the exact same thing. He's out-rebounding him. I think Jokic had, 19 rebounds tonight. Totally out-rebounded, Ayton in the first half of the game. And then what Jokic did defensively against him was awesome. DeAndre Ayton couldn't get anything up on Jokic. So it's not even like He was just missing shots. There were just times where he'd be around the basket where he couldn't get anything up on him. So only pulls down 7 rebounds here to Jokic's 19. And he's a much more physical player than Nikola Jokic.
He is. That's why it's extremely confusing. He just gives me sometimes, I wonder, like, is it Monty Williams not getting him involved, which can be true at times, but also Aiden is just not aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him get guarded by, he's almost 7 feet. He was a 7-footer basically, right, Aiden? Probably a little bit taller than that if he is. But I've seen him get guarded by 6'8" dudes or 6'7" dudes, which is tall average to the average human being. But in the NBA, that's not that tall. He will shoot a jump hook from 16 feet away.
He did it today.
That is too far. You are not about to make that shit, bro. Get your big ass down the block. Make it easy for yourself. Lay the ball in. You are not about to be shooting a jump hook from 15 feet.
Yeah.
That's a jump shot, if anything. But he should be having more rebounds than he have some nights. It's just he doesn't. I don't know if he's just not motivated. If he really doesn't want to be with the Suns, I don't know if that's still lingering in his head. But I feel like he just doesn't. Sometimes I just feel like he just doesn't want it enough either. Yeah.
Indecisive a lot of times too. Like there'll be times where he kind of looks like he doesn't know what he wants to go into. You know, so that's gonna
look confused.
He does. He does, and that's going to be something to watch the rest of the series. I mean, we're talking about him competing against the MVP, but this is a big man who's trying to prove himself as an all-star caliber big, right? If he feels like he's not getting his touches in Phoenix and they're not really valuing him, and he's going to do all of that, when you have these opportunities, you have to show a lot of stuff, and he's had opportunities and he's not showing it. You know what I mean? You can't have a game where you're getting out rebound. I know Jokic is the MVP, but bro, you got out rebounded by 12 and you're more physical than him, right? Like that's just something that can't happen. You had a tough time scoring on him. That's something that can't happen.
Yeah, no.
So that's going to be something to watch the rest of that series is the Ayton and Jokic matchup. I know Jokic is a better player, but Ayton's got to figure out something. He's got to get an edge because he's in a process of trying to establish what type of player he is. Yeah. Simple as that. You know,
I would just tell Aiden, I'm like, I know Jokic is a former MVP or whatever the case may be, but you're the number one. You're a number one pick, and you're just as tall as him, and you're more physical than him, like you said. Toughen up. I just tell him like this. You know how I say it. I say toughen up.
You got to get down there and hoop. You got when guys have you. We talked about this last night with De'Aaron Fox. When young guys have these opportunities to match up against certain people, because a lot of these guys have chips on their shoulders. If they have these opportunities to match up with certain people, they've got to go out. They've got to go out there and prove it. Prove they can go compete with them. You know, Ayton's still a hell of a player. He's got superstar upside. But if you have this opportunity, De'Aaron Fox has an opportunity right now to knock out Steph Curry in the playoffs. You think he ain't finna take it? He's finna take his best swing at him. I'm not saying Ayton's not giving effort, but he's got to take a better swing at Nikola Jokic than what we've seen him do over the course of his career, especially if he's trying to prove to people that he's an all-star, you know, hopefully future superstar level player, you know?
I think this is where sometimes we have expectations of players because we look at their talent and we think, okay, this is what he should be, but what if he's just not that? What if we just have to have a reality check and be like, he's just not what we think he can be? Because I feel like that's to the point where we're getting, because this is like his 5th season in the league, right? I'm pretty sure somewhere around there, 4 or 5, so probably longer. But yeah, I think that means he is what he is at this point. He's been in the league long enough for us to evaluate how his game is actually transitioned to on the court for us to come up with the conclusion he is what he is.
Yeah,
most players are 4 or 5 years in, you are what you are, most likely.
Yeah, maybe they're like, okay, Ayton is going to be a guy. He's been 18-10 over the course of his career pretty consistently, which is good. It's amazing, actually. Those are great numbers. But like I said, this is a guy, you drafted number 1 overall, you have franchise potential. I remember I talked to y'all, I asked y'all that question if he can be a franchise level player. So that's what you're drafted for. That's your potential level right there, right? All things considered. He's a dude that I can see down the road being a most improved player. Like if he's going to have a 25-10 season one day, he's going to win a most improved player award. So it can happen, you know, but I just think it should, these are the opportunities he has to take advantage of now. This is your rematch against Nikola Jokic, right? I know Phoenix beat him when they played, but he couldn't, he showed that first time in 2021, he couldn't match up with him. So this is his perfect opportunity to come back at him. You got to take a bigger swing at him. You got to.
He should be a mix between Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid to me, but he's not. That's what he should be. Like he has. I'm not saying he can handle the ball like Joel Embiid can a little bit, or even Anthony Davis, but he should be in the middle of those two in terms of just like production and talent. Yeah, his talent is off the charts for his size. Yeah. So that's why I just don't get if it's just modern thing. Like if he was, I don't know, playing 10 years ago, would this been different if he was playing on a different within a different franchise? Like I don't know. Because some nights he does look in tune, and some nights it doesn't look like Monty Williams is getting him involved.
Yeah,
and that was before they even got KD. So you know it's probably going to get even worse when KD came here. So I don't know what it could be. It could be just him.
Tough thing tonight, like I said, is he got his looks. So he has time to flip it and turn it around. This is a guy who, you mentioned the Embiid comparison. I think he was a little more polished than both Embiid and Anthony Davis when he came out of Arizona.
He was. That's why he was the number one pick.
Yeah, like he was more.
Yeah. So
no, for real. Like if we put up Anthony Davis, his draft year, and DeAndre Ayton, and I know this is kind of a wild comparison. You know, he's one of the more polished young big men coming out of the draft in the last 10 years. So the talent is there. He's just got to execute. Other thing is the Jamal Murray thing. What he's done in the playoffs has been phenomenal so far. We talked about Jimmy Butler being an elite playoff player. Jamal Murray is going to be in that conversation too. Last time we saw him in the bubble where he absolutely lost his mind. Everybody's like, okay, can he repeat this? And, you know, when everybody's actually in the stands and we're in an actual environment, because some people don't fuck with the entire bubble thing. He comes in tonight and he destroys Phoenix. He rips their heart out. He's the one who put that game out of reach. So we talk about Jimmy Butler. We talk about those guys, and you actually said this. We talk about those guys who become completely different come playoff time. Murray may be a regular 20-point-a-game guy, which is great in the regular season, but when he gets to the playoffs, he's a different animal. He's averaging this is a series where I can see him averaging win or lose over 30 a game. You know, because I don't think Phoenix has a matchup for him. You know,
that's crazy. No, obviously Phoenix, their strong suit obviously isn't defense. I think everybody knows that. They're just trying to. It's kind of like the Kings or what they're trying to do to the Warriors, even though they play some great defense here and there. They just want to outscore you, and that's what the Phoenix Suns are trying to do. They're just trying to outscore you. Once they lost Mikal Bridges, their defense just went out the door because he was their best defensive player and one of the best defensive players in the league. And I still think they miss him. Yeah. If it was in a perfect world, if they could keep him, that would be great, but they just couldn't. Yeah, it is what it is. But I think, he can. I think Jamal Murray can probably definitely average 30 this series against the Suns. Yeah, you let Russ. I'm not gonna throw a shot at Russ, but you let Russ do what he did against them, and I know he's had some struggles, but that just shows me like you can't play defense.
Yeah. Or like you even mentioned earlier, the point that series was so close.
Norman Powell. Powell was giving them buckets. Norman Powell's a good player, but like you shouldn't. Certain players you shouldn't be averaging that many points against you. Yeah,
and the point that they kept it that close, you know, kind of tells you a couple of things. You know, without having their two best players majority of that series, so it's not over with. I think Phoenix is going to flip it to another switch come game 2. But biggest things here is to continue to pay attention to is this depth. What are they going to do? And they have quality players off the bench, like there's Shamet, there's Torrey Craig. They're great players off the bench. They just have to. You need more from them than what you got today. Yeah. The Ayton and Jokic thing is something to keep an eye on. The rebounding thing is gonna whoop your ass later in the series. And Phoenix, as you mentioned, has to get up more 3-point shots. They got outshot from 3. You're not gonna win an NBA game like that.
You could not only shoot 5 threes in one half. When Ernie said that, I swear I looked at the screen like 5 threes.
Man,
in today's game in 2023. You telling me a team only shot 5 threes in the first half?
It was a 16-7 differential when we talk about 3-point makes.
It'd be different if you shoot them and you know you missing them, but you are not like at least attempt. And how many of those attempts probably came from Kevin Durant? Probably in the first half.
I gotta go back. I have to go back and look. There were some catch and shoot attempts that didn't go.
Probably three of them from him. Mm-hmm. If I just had to guess, just based off his game, because I know he likes to pull up threes. And
the thing there is they like hunting those mid-range shots. All of that's great. And there was a point where it was working. Like there was a point where Phoenix almost brought that one back in the early second half. They're kind of punishing like that Denver drop defense. That could spell some issues later. We saw it, a couple years back. So we'll see. But the offensive thing, the 3-point shooting thing, is going to be tough to win a playoff series if you're getting outshot like that.
I actually think this is my take. I think Phoenix is going to lose game 2, actually, and then I think Phoenix is actually going to go back home and win both of their home games.
Okay. Now
I can see that happening.
Now who wins the whole series?
That's tough. I'll probably say I don't want the Phoenix Suns to win because I talk all this stuff and I criticize them. But in reality, if the Lakers were to beat the Kings or the Warriors, whoever they would face next, I am scared to face the Phoenix Suns. I don't want to face them. I'm just critiquing them. But I would rather face the Denver Nuggets, and I'm not as afraid of them as I am the Phoenix Suns. I would say I want Denver to win, just for my fans' sake.
Okay.
And we own Denver, so
I want Denver too because this roster is great. I like Mike Malone as a coach, so I want to see them get something out of it. Because if they don't get past the second round, a lot of guys are going to be gone.